Does it feel like your business, maybe you, are asleep in an enchanted castle, waiting to be woken up by the right who? You hear this. Find your who, right to the right who, but no one says who these who's are. How do you recognize them? How do you identify them? Now, that's what I've been talking about this week in my Who Palooza Who Fest. If you haven't caught my other 2 episodes on Monday and Wednesday, they also covered this important topic, and I wanna thank the person who asked me about this topic on one of my YouTube videos from last week. They said, "Hey, I love this content. Do you have anything about finding your who?" And I thought, "Of course I do." So I looked for it, and it wasn't there. So, I remedied that with 3 back-to-back episodes of Finding Your Who, and this is the 3rd one, and today is going to be inspired by the Disney film Beauty and the Beast. Because did you know that the characters in that film all represent qualities of your ideal who? Keep on listening, and I'll show you how. Hi, my name is Carma Spence, and I help executive coaches, business leaders, and consultants write, publish, and market client attracting books so that they can grow their business. And I do it with AI assistance so that the sloggy bits aren't so sloggy, and gamification so that people are pulled through because they want to get that next badge. And then at the end, voila, they have a book that can raise their authority and attract the right clients and get them onto speaking stages because it was strategically created to do that. Now, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so that this video can get out to more people who are searching for their ideal who. Now, let's first get to the first one, which is what I call the Belle test. Are they curious, not just captivated? Now, I have people who follow me who will never write a book. They're not interested in writing a book, but they're engaged. They comment, they engage with me. They're engaged, but they're not curious about what I do or how I can work with them. Therefore, they are not my who. So, your ideal who doesn't just admire your voice, they engage with it and they want to go the next step. They join your list. They DM you saying, "Hey, maybe you can help me. Can we talk?" They're engaging with you in a very specific way that says they're curious about working with you. Number 2 is what I call the beast factor. Are they ready for transformation? Now, the beast in Beauty and the Beast, I'll admit he was getting kind of sad because he'd given up on finding the true love that he needed to find in order to be transformed back into the handsome prince he was. But he was hungry. He was hungry for that transformation, hungry enough that he was willing to try to encourage Belle to fall in love with him, even though he didn't know what he was doing. Remember that famous scene where he gets the curlers in his hair? He looks so ridiculous. But he was willing to do the ridiculous in order to get the transformation he was hungry for. Your ideal who is hungry for the transformation that you offer. For example, I've gotten on the phone with people who, like, a book was the last thing they were interested in doing. They wanted to get on the stages first. They wanted to grow their business first. They wanted to do all these other things first. They weren't interested in, they weren't hungry for what I had to do. They were not my who. But then I get on the phone with other people who are like, "I know you're the person who can help me. How do I pay you?" Those are my who, right? The same goes for you. Who's hungry for the transformation that you offer? Your who's going to be in that group of people. And number 3 is the rose rule. Are they on a deadline that they can feel to get that transformation? Remember, the rose kept losing a petal. And when it lost its last petal, the beast would forever stay a beast and never be a human again. The beast had a deadline, and it was visceral. He could see it. He would go every night and he'd look at that rose, slowly losing petals. Your who is slowly losing petals. They can feel the need for the transformation that you offer. That's different from the people who are hungry for the transformation you offer, but it could happen tomorrow. It could happen the next day. And wait. Those are who adjacent. They'll eventually become your who because eventually they'll feel the deadline. It's the people who feel the deadline now that are your ideal who. So who are they? Who are these people? If you're enjoying this episode of Coffee with Karma, you'll enjoy joining me in the Backstage Blend. And all you have to do to join me is pay $5 a month and you'll get audio versions of this podcast and all sorts of other good stuff. If you go to this QR code, just put your phone there, or go to buymeacoffee.com/Karma Spence. All the perks that you will get are listed there, and for $5 a month, you can enjoy them. Now back to number 4, the library test. Are they hungry for depth? When Belle walked into that library, she was like, "Oh, books, a library." She couldn't wait to read all those books. And I grok that. I love going in rooms full of books. I dream of being in a house, having my own home with one of those big libraries with the ladders that, because the books are so high, and maybe even like a little balcony with a spiral bookcase that I probably wouldn't be able to use, but it'd look really cool. Your who is hungry for the depth that you offer. They not only want the transformation, they not only feel the deadline of that transformation, they want to go deep. They want the transformation to not only happen, but stick. That is the library test. Your who is hungry for that because your ideal who, your perfect who, is going to want all the transformations that you offer, not just one. And finally, the true love filter. Remember, the beast could only become a prince if he found true love, which is reciprocal, That means Belle fell in love with him and he fell in love with Belle. Well, your who is someone who not only has fallen in love with you and what you offer, but you've fallen in love with them. Ask yourself honestly, would serving this who light you up? Would you want to serve this who for the long haul? That's your who. So remember, 5 things we covered today. The Belle test. Are they curious about what you offer, not just engaged? They're engaging because they want to know more. The beast factor. Are they hungry for transformation? The rose rule. Are they on a deadline? They got to get it done. They got to get it done sooner rather than later. The library tests, they want to go deep. They want more than just one transformation that you offer. And 5, not only do they love you, do you love them? Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And of course, if you have a topic that I haven't covered or you want me to cover again, just drop it in the comments. I will love to give you content that you actually want. This is Carma Spence saying ciao for now.
Bloopers!
Hi. Hit my mic.